やっと秋になりました。これから寒くなっていくよね。みなさん、こんにちは。Welcome back to NihonGoal, where we study Japanese language together. This is Minna No Nihongo Intermediate Lesson 11. In this video, we will learn about the following grammar points. First is nani nani te iku or nani nani te kuru. We will also learn nani nani tara do. Next, we have nani nani yori, nani nani hoga. And lastly, we also have nani nani rashi. And if you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check out the vocabulary list for this lesson. If you're new here, you can check out my earlier videos for beginners JLPT N5 and N4. So, if you're ready, grab your notebook and let's get started. Our first grammar point is nani nani te kuru or nani nani te iku. First, let's review. We first learned about nani nani te iku and te kuru from Intermediate Lesson 6, which indicates the direction or movement of action. For example, tako ga tonde iku. Tako ga tonde iku. The kite, tako, is flying away. So this shows that the action is moving away from the speaker. So, te iku, tonde iku, meaning going away, right? Another example is ikura ga oyoide kuru. Ikura ga oyoide kuru. The dolphins are swimming towards us. So the action is coming towards the speaker. So we can apply the same concept in this grammar point. When we use te kuru, it means that the action or state is getting closer in terms of time. On the other hand, when we say nani nani te iku, it means that the action or state is already happening and it will continue to happen in the future. So basically, this means that something will happen or will change, or something is already happening and it will continue to do so. So, how do we use this pattern? Same as before, we just use the verb in te form and then we can add either iku or kuru. So, verb te iku, verb te kuru. For example, I bought a winter coat, though it's a little early. But it'll get cold soon, so it's a good idea to buy it now. ちょっと早いけど、冬のコートを買いました。So it's a little bit early though, but I already bought my winter coat. But it'll get cold soon. So meaning it's not cold yet, but it will be very, very soon. We say, でもすぐに, soon. Our verb is to get cold or 寒くなる. We change this to that form, which is 寒くなって, so 寒くなります becomes 寒くなって plus from now on, so we use 来る. 来るから今のうちに買っておいて正解ですね. Now it's just in my house, just to prepare.And I think that's a good idea. ちょっと早いけど、冬のコートを買いました。でもすぐに寒くなってくるから、今のうちに買っておいて正解ですね。Another example, it's already December. It looks like it snowed heavily in Hokkaido yesterday. It's getting colder, right? So here we can see that the speaker is already feeling the coldness, so it already started. So we say, もう12月だね。昨日北海道では大雪が降ったみたいだよ。これからどんどん。So from now on, it will gradually, どんどん gradually. Again, the verb is to get cold. 寒くなる becomes 寒くなって。It's already began, so we use 行く。これからどんどん寒くなっていくよね。Next example, have you gotten used to life in Japan? Our verb is to get used to something. We say, 日本の生活に life in Japan to get used to or 慣れる which becomes 慣れて form plus 来ましたか? So in past tense, meaning you are asking the listener if they've gotten used to the life in Japan. 日本の生活に慣れてきましたか? Another example, you will get used to life in Japan over time. We say, 日本の生活に慣れていくよ。日本の生活に慣れていくよ。We think that the process already started and it will get, or the listener will get used to the life in Japan over time even more. Next example, the number of foreigners who want to move to Japan is increasing. 日本に引っ越ししたい外国人が The foreigners who wants to move to Japan, our verb is to increase, which is 増える to increase. We change to 増えて and then we say 行く. So, we are saying that the process already began and it will increase even more over time. This one, the speaker is more certain about this happening, maybe based from certain facts. Another is using the same example. The number of foreigners who want to move to Japan will increase. 日本に引っ越ししたい外国人が Again, to increase, but this time we say 増えてくる. So this sentence is almost the same as the last one, but when we say 増えてくる, the speaker is not very certain or it will happen without certainty. It's very spontaneous and it happened for some unexpected reason. Our second grammar point is nani nani tara do. This pattern is used when making suggestion or giving advice to someone such as a family member or friend, or someone we are close to. We can also say nani nani tara ikaga desu ka to be more polite, or nani nani tara do desu ka. So this basically means how about or why don't you do nani nani. So how do we use this pattern? We just use the verb in tara form. Verb tara plus do, or simply saying verb tara to be more casual. So here are some examples on how to use this pattern. For example, recently I've been feeling tired all the time. 最近いつも疲れています。最近いつも疲れています。Why don't you sleep for 6 to 8 hours? Here, the listener is making a suggestion. Why don't you sleep for 6 to 8 hours? We say 6、8時間ぐらい 6 to 8 hours. Our verb is 寝る to sleep. So we change this to tara form, which is 寝たら6、8時間ぐらい寝たらどう? How about you sleep for 6 to 8 hours? Another example. Mr. Lee hasn't come yet, right? リーさんはまだ来ませんね。Not yet. How about calling him? Here, the listener is giving a suggestion of calling Mr. Lee. まだです。Not yet. Our verb is to call or 電話をする. We say 電話をしたらどうですか? Like I said, we can use either どう or どうですか to be more polite. まだです。電話をしたらどうですか? Another example. My throat hurts and I think I've got a fever. 喉が痛くて少し熱があるみたい. The listener says, how about drinking some medicine and taking the PCR test? So the listener is thinking that the other person might have the Rona. So he or she is making some suggestions. We can say, 薬を飲んで. So he's giving two suggestions. First is to drink some medicine, which is 薬を飲んで, and then take the PCR test. PCR 検査, PCR test, or our verb is 受ける. So to take the PCR test, we use the verb 受ける, which becomes 受けてみたら. Here we are adding 受けてみる or to try taking the PCR test to be more gentle or to have more kindness in our suggestion. We don't want to be too pushy to the other person. So we could say 受けてみたらどう? But of course, we can say 受けたらどう? But this is more forceful, like you are forcing the other person to take the test. Our third grammar point is 何々より何々方が to make comparison. This is mainly used to answer the question, which is something, A or B. Here we are making comparison between two things. So this pattern mainly means A is more than B. We first learned about 何々より from beginner lesson 12. The pattern is 何々は何々より, meaning something is 何々 than 何々. We also learned 何々が一番何々, meaning something is the best or the most adjective. For example, 新幹線は普通電車よりずっと速いです, meaning bullet trains are much faster than normal trains. Another example, アニメの中ではナルトが一番好きです, meaning I like Naruto the best of all anime. So how do we use this pattern? We can use this to compare verbs or nouns. We can also use this with adjectives. So we have the verb in dictionary form or the e adjective, na adjective or nouns plus yori plus verb again in dictionary form. E adjective, and then we have, if you want to use na adjective, we add na, and if you want to use noun, we add no plus hoga. So let's take a look at some examples. For example, kanji is easier to read than to write. Kanji wa, so we say the lesser verb first, which is to write. Kanji wa kaku yori than writing, so than writing, and then followed by the verb to read, yomu. So yomu is better than writing. We say yomu no hou ga easy, which is 簡単です. Kanji wa kaku yori yomu no hou ga 簡単です. So in this pattern, again, we use the verb in dictionary form, kaku and yomu. Another example, which is more difficult, English or Japanese? 英語と日本語ではどちらの方が難しいですか? I think English is more difficult than Japanese. Again, the lesser one comes first in the sentence. We say 日本語, so than Japanese. 日本語より, we are saying that English is more difficult than Japanese. So, than Japanese followed by English. 英語の方が. So again, noun より noun の方が plus, here we have an adjective difficult. 難しいと思います. 日本語より英語の方が難しいと思います. And last example, I prefer thick noodles to thin ones, or I prefer thick noodles more than thin ones. We say, うどんの麺は as for noodles, so again, the lesser comes first. Thin ones is 細い方. So we have an adjective followed by word like ほ or もの. 細い方より than the thin ones, and then followed by thick noodles or thick ones, which is 太いの方が好きです. うどんの麺は細い方より太いの方が好きです。Our fourth grammar point is 何々らしい, which is used to illustrate similarities. This pattern is used to show the similarities between two nouns. Noun 1, らしい, noun 2. This means that noun 2 possess the typical qualities of noun 1. But this is different from the grammar point 何々みたい, which is also used to illustrate the similarities between two nouns. みたい is also saying something is like something. For example, この酒はリンゴジュースみたいな味がする. Meaning this alcohol tastes like apple juice. So we are comparing the taste of the alcohol to the taste of the apple juice. On the other hand, when we use らしい to compare two nouns, we are saying that N2 possess the ideal or expected characteristics of noun 1. So, meaning that noun 2 should be or ideally should be like noun 1. So, how do we use this pattern? We just simply add らしい to a noun. For example, the noun 女性 or woman. When we add らしい, 女性らしい, it means feminine. So meaning the ideal or expected characteristics of a woman. We can also say 子供 or a child, 子供らしい, meaning childlike. So let's take a look at some examples. For example, she likes to wear ladylike or feminine clothes. We say 彼女は followed by lady or woman, which is 女性 plus らしい. 女性らしい or ladylike or feminine, and we are going to use this to describe the type of clothes. So 服 女性らしい服 she likes to wear. So を着るのが好きです。彼女は女性らしい服を着るのが好きです。Or it means that she likes to wear typical ladylike clothes. Another example, autumn is finally here. I can use my autumnal colored decor or autumn themed decor. We say, やっと秋になりました. Autumn is finally here. Aki. So we have a noun, which is aki, the season, followed by rashi, aki rashi. So typical characteristics of autumn, which is describing colors or colored decorations. 色の飾り。秋らしい色の飾り。I can use を使います。やっと秋になりました。秋らしい色の飾りを使います。So in the previous one, we use this pattern to describe noun. Now we are just going to use it as a predicate. For example, my son is always playing. He's really childlike. 息子はいつもよく遊びます。子供らしいです。So we are just simply describing the child as acting like a typical child. 子供らしいです。Another example. It's not like you to get mad, or it's so unlike you to get mad. So here we have negative. We say 怒るなんて or we can also say 怒るのは so getting mad. Here we use なんて meaning the speaker is surprised or doesn't expect this to happen. 怒るなんて and then we have noun らしい which is you. あなた not like you. So we say らしくない. So instead of らし we say らしくない. Not like you. It's so unlike you. 怒るなんてあなたらしくない。or 怒るのはあなたらしくない。And our last grammar point is again 何々らしい. But this is used for reported speech or making conclusion. This pattern is used to express what someone heard or read, but it's not certain about it. So it's like a gossip because the speaker is not really sure whether the information is true or not. We can also use this to form a conclusion based from what someone heard or read. So this grammar point means I read or I heard that nani nani. Or we can say it seems like nani nani when we want to make a conclusion. So this is similar to the pattern verb plain form soda, which we've learned from beginner lesson 47. This is also used when we want to say something we've heard or read and relay that information to someone else. For example, 天気予報によると based from the weather forecast, 明日寒くなるそうです。明日寒くなるそうです。I heard it will be cold tomorrow. So the speaker heard the news. So both soda and rashi are used when we want to say an information that we've heard or read. But the main difference is that we use soda when we are certain of the information. And we use rashi when we are not certain, almost like a gossip. So that's the main difference between the two. So how do we use this pattern? We can use this with verbs in plain form, e-adjectives, na-adjectives, and noun. We just simply add rashi. So let's take a look at some examples. For example, I heard on the news that the queen is dead. We say, ニュースによると according to the news or from the news, 女王は the queen, our verb is to be dead, which is 亡くなりました. Here we have to use the plain form, which is 亡くなった. From 亡くなりました, we use 亡くなった followed by らし or らしいよ. So here, the speaker is not certain, even though he heard it from the news, maybe the speaker doesn't believe it to be true and it thinks it's like a gossip. ニュースによると、女王は亡くなったらしいよ。Another example. I've read in a magazine that the food in that shop is delicious. So it's just a hearsay. 雑誌で見たんだけど、あの店の料理は Here we are going to use an adjective which is delicious, おいしい. So we simply add らしい or in this case, らしいです. I heard or I've read, but I'm not very certain about it, that the food in that shop is delicious. 雑誌で見たんだけど、あの店の料理は美味しいらしいです。Another example, I heard the vice principal will be on leave for a week. 教頭先生は1週間. Here we're going to use a noun, which is leave or day off from work. 休み. So we simply add らしい。教頭先生は1週間休みらしいです。And last example is using it to express conclusion, meaning based from the facts, you are formulating conclusion. For example, father seemed very tired. Why? Because he went straight to bed without eating. We say, お父さんは, and then we have to be tired, which is 疲れていた. Again, plain form. 疲れていた plus らしい. It seemed father was very tired. お父さんは疲れていたらしい。帰ってきたら何も食べずにすぐ寝た。帰ってきたら何も食べずにすぐ寝た. We will learn ずに or 食べずに in the next video. But basically it means 食べないですぐ寝た. We can also use this one, but it is more natural in this situation to say 帰ってきたら何も食べずにすぐ寝た. Okay, it's time for you to try. Question. 犬と猫ではどちらが好きですか? Try to use the grammar point we've learned today and write your answers in the comment section below. はい、お疲れ様でした。今日のレッスンはどうでしたか? 役に立ったら like ボタンを押してください。 もし質問とかコメントがあれば、ぜひ下に書いてくださいね。I hope you learned something today. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss part 2 of this lesson. If you want to support this channel even more, please consider becoming my Patreon through my Patreon page where you can get the lesson PDF and other study materials. And to all my Patreons, 本当にありがとうございます。Okay, so that's it for today's lesson. I will see you in the next one. またね! Special thank you and shout out to our elite scholars, Cornelius and Constantine, and to our study buddies, Paul, Taras, Stephanie, Peggy, Jared, and Angie. And to all our NihonGoal students, 本当にありがとうございます。